The topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the host and their guests, and not those of W4CS Radio, its employees, or affiliates. W4CS makes no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening to the Cancer Support Network on W4CS.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Survive and Live Well, Tips to Treat and Beat Cancer. Today, we will continue with our Healers series. Last week, we spoke with Holly Hollowell and discussed the emotion code. If you missed that show, you can find it on my website, www.ellenjacobs.com. Today, we have the lovely April Fontana, founder of the energy healing technique, the Oracle Method, and who is also known as the Oracle Healer. I have been working with April for a few months now, and she's just amazing. So welcome, April. Thank you for joining us here on the show.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
I am looking forward to sharing your talent. So April, first, can you explain to us, how did you come to be a healer, and why did you do it?
Okay. Well, I was basically born a healer. And previous lives I've been a healer many times. But in this lifetime, I wasn't like looking through bodies like I do now, just like looking straight through and seeing organs and all that. But I always knew that, I would feel, number one, I would feel everybody's emotions, or if somebody walked by, like with my family, if they had a headache, and I would know they had a headache because I would get it. But I didn't know what that was. Now I understand it's an empath. And then I would, know what people are thinking and all these things. And I was just basically, the strange kid. So I kind of grew up like that.
April, that has to have been a little freaky as a child.
I even knew as a child somehow that it wasn't me. I knew that it was just people that didn't understand. You know what I mean? So I was tapped in, basically, to the vortex just immediately. So I already had a higher knowledge of, I knew what was going on because, I remember coming home from the hospital when I was born. It was like 3 days.
Wow.
Looking at my entire family, knowing them better than they could ever know themselves on this planet. So I knew, because I knew what I was feeling. I knew what I was feeling was right. And there was verifications of it anyway. They would say, "How do you know what I'm thinking?" Yes, I was thinking that. But there was no, giving away the age here, but there was no, internet and just Google, what is this? But that's an empath. That part of that is an empath. And then I would start to see stuff like, one time my sister was going to get in the car, and I'm like, don't get in the car because I saw her getting in an accident. That's a clairvoyant.
Wow.
So all these things. But I remember when I was younger, like if my mom was sad or something, I would make believe I didn't know because I knew she wouldn't want me to know. But I would just kind of put my hand on her leg and I would feel my love being thrown in her body. And I could see the difference, and she would just look at me and smile. And we never really talked about that. We did talk about how I communicate with animals when we'd go to the zoo and I'd ask a tiger to come down that was sleeping and I'd wake him up. And, things like that. So that was all very interesting. But it wasn't until I went through a bunch of tragic things, like my mother passing and my dad passing and my fiance passing, all these people, that I couldn't do anything. And I decided, I got all this built up in me. What would happen if I just let go? Just let go and see what this is really all about, because this has got to be a mission. And as soon as I did that, I was chanting, I'm an SDI Buddhist, and we chant to a scroll, and basically we're chanting to it, but it's just a reflection of ourselves. We don't chant to an entity or a Buddha or anything. And one of the words on the scroll is Myoho. It's Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, and I was staring at Myoho, which in English means mystic law. And so it's the same thing. It's the workings of the universe, and I was staring at it, and my whole being just like flew through it. And I ended up in the vortex, never even heard the word vortex at that time. I didn't know where I was. And then I felt it. I felt, no, there's no fear here. There's gold spinning all around me. What is? And I came out, and then I'm just looking through people's bodies. So that's how that part happened, when I finally was able to just let go and say, okay, I'm not going to be afraid of whatever all this stuff has led up to since I was a kid. And I want to help people the best way I can. And that's what my prayer was. If I can help people in any way, let's just do this, basically. I was saying, let's just do this. And it just, bing, just like that.
Wow.
It happened. Yeah, so it all kind of came together. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always amazing to me. I mean, I had almost no exposure to any of this. I think I would have thought everybody was crazy a few years ago. But having dealt with so many energy healers now, different kinds, I am so fascinated. I think, there's so many naysayers out there in the world who would have been like me, 5-10 years ago, like when I had my first diagnosis and my cancer diagnosis, and my oncologist said, Ellen, you got to do something about this. These toxic emotions, these problems, the different things, they're going to haunt you for the rest of your life and make you sick. And they are making you sick. And I looked at him like, so what am I going to do about it? Well, I've come a long way. I've gotten such a great education from people like you. So I find this really exciting. And I want to remind everybody that if you do have questions, there is the chat room on your screen on the lower right-hand corner. And you can ask questions. If we don't answer them right away, it's maybe because we're going to get to that topic later in the session. And if you write questions out that are too long, I won't have time to read them while I'm talking. I am not that talented. So keep them short, keep them sweet, and keep them general. And I will be watching for them. So, April, what is the Oracle method? Well, what happened is when I started healing people, I never took classes or anything. So that's just not my style anyway. I mean, I used to be a computer programmer, and I never took a class. That's just the way my mind works. I want to learn it on my own. And besides, there was no time. I didn't need to take a class. It just came out of the vortex a healer. But when I started healing, I was at my friend's crystal shop, actually, at Gypsy Love on Mission in Pomona. My dear, dear friends who have been there for me when I didn't know what the heck was going on, because I was growing so rapidly. They kept saying, you're the Oracle healer. And I'm like, what is that? Then they're like, you're the Oracle healer, I'm telling you. And so I came home and I said, maybe I should look this up, because I was so busy, because I wasn't doing it as a profession. I was, at the time, I healed 200 people for nothing. I was just having a blast helping people. And so I decided to look back, all the way back, to see who has done exactly what I'm doing. And it didn't exist. And I was really shocked by that. I said, wait a minute. That kind of even freaked me out, and that's hard to freak me out. So I went back to my friends and I said, nobody's done exactly what I'm doing. And I thought I was just going to say, oh, this is this method from Egypt or something, and it didn't exist. And I said, we told you you're the Oracle healer. So I speak to my guides. I don't know if you believe in guides, but, we have guides around us. Some people, call them angels, right?
They see the angels, but the guides are different than angels.
Oh, okay.
Guides are, angels like the Archangel Michael. Those are angels that have, lived before. Guides are different. My main guide, because I have about 80 of them, my main guide said, call yourself that. And I said, And no, I don't want to call myself the Oracle. That's going to sound like arrogant or something. That's not me at all. And then I left the house that day, just driving around, and everywhere I went, I saw the word Oracle. Because, the universe talks to you if you are willing to listen. Like, if I have a question and I'm out, and I have a question, I just say it out to the universe, and then a truck will move in front of you, and there's a sign on the back of the truck with the answer to your question. I mean, that is really how the universe works. Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. And so I kept seeing Oracle everywhere, in the elevator, and then when I came home, it was all over the computer, and there's a program or something on the computer called Oracle. When you reboot your system, it says it. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to call myself the Oracle Healer.
Right. I hear you. I got it, right?
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, that's just the way it is. And then, so I figured, well, obviously the Oracle method is going to be the name of what I'm doing. So that's how the whole thing came together at one time.
Pretty wild. All right. What's different about what you do than maybe some other methods of healing?
Okay. What I do is multidimensional. Like, say, okay, I'm just going to look at your energy. You don't mind, right?
That's okay. You look at my energy.
Yeah, okay. Basically, what I do is I'm all distant. I don't, I work in the energy field. I don't work like on top of somebody's body. Like, I don't like somebody laying on a table, because I'm reaching through. I'm a surgeon. I can't reach through with the body there. So when I work, I put the energy of the person standing up as if me and you were just standing up looking at each other in person. And what's going on is a lot of things. I'm looking through your body. I don't have to feel around to know what's going on. I use my hands when I'm correcting something, like if your arteries are clogged or you're about to have a heart attack. I stick my hand right in your heart, and I'm correcting what's causing that. Now, there could be 3 different types of things causing it. It could be a spiritual thing. It could be an emotional thing, or a physical thing. Well, of course, it's a physical thing, but it started with an emotional thing always.
Right.
Always started with an emotional thing. So I'm very well-rounded in what I'm doing. So the first thing I do is I clean out the aura, because I can't look at a bunch of stuff that doesn't need to be there. Then I completely clean out all the chakras, which are energy points of the body. And then I intensely open them. So the biggest thing about me is it's well-rounded and I'm intense. I think that my intention is so intense to help the person, my passion for people. I think that's most of it, honestly. But of course, I know what I'm doing when I'm in there. But I don't think you can do it without the passion and the intensity of what I'm doing, because there's too many things going on. So after I do the chakras, which holds most of the emotional stuff that since I go back since birth or further, whatever happens in there. So then you have a clean, aura, and then I'll balance out the actual energy field. The aura is outside of your energy field. It's there. It looks like a colored cloud. And there's several layers emotionally of that. And say you're an empath like me, which means it's short for empathy, but we actually will feel other people's feelings. It sticks to the aura. And so that's the type of thing I'm cleaning off. After that, the main thing is it's very important. A lot of people would drink a lot of water and always be dehydrated. They don't know why. They change the water. Sure, it could be the water. But most of the time when I go into somebody's energy the first time, the water, I'm looking at it, it's leaning to the left or leaning to the right. I balance the water so it's working perfectly in your body. Then I balance all the minerals. There's about 84 minerals. Never do I go into somebody's energy and all 84 are working properly. They must work properly because they're bouncing off each other. So if there's 10 not working properly, you might as well say there's 20 not working. So then I balance all the minerals to work 100%. Like say somebody has muscle pains all the time. I go in there and their magnesium citrate is not working in their muscles. No matter, they could just drink the whole bottle of magnesium, it's not going to do anything.
Right.
Right. So then I balance the vitamins. Then I balance the hormones. Hormones is usually a big problem because the adrenals are fatigued. I clean out the adrenals. Then if the adrenals are fatigued, then the thyroid's a little off. Then I balance out the thyroid. And if all that's going on, the serotonin and the happy hormones and the endorphins are not working properly. So then I make that work. So after I do all the stuff I just said, then I have a foundation. Then I go in and attack the physical stuff. Is it diabetes? If it is, I go in the pancreas and correct the pancreas to work right. Or if it's muscles or somebody broke their back, it doesn't matter what it is. It all really looks the same in energy. Mm-hmm. I'm also a medium, so somebody's parent might show up. I don't call upon anybody, but if they're there, they're there. I might see a past where they're really parallel lives. They're not past, they're parallel, and they can affect us in a positive or a negative way. I might see, example, I might be in somebody's energy like last night, and I said, were you in the war this lifetime? He goes, yes. I go, okay, you were in the war last time too. So he was holding a lot of guilt from his past life, but of course he doesn't know it.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
So what I do is I just make it dormant. I just make the lives that are affecting in a negative way dormant. And the positive lives you can actually pull forward. Like, say you used to be a singer. You can pull that forward.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's just so many things going on. I remove all the emotional blocks. I can talk to your subconscious and your higher self. No hypnosis. I just talk to you. Mm-hmm. Tell you what what your subconscious is saying, and a lot of times, some people, cry when they hear it, but you got to release it. You got to let it go. But as they're crying, I'm pulling it out, and then they're not crying anymore because I just yanked it out. There's so many things going on in somebody's energy. It's so many fears, and what us humans do to ourselves. And, especially now it's so urgent for people to wake up to the possibilities of what's real, because anyone that's into astrology knows, what just happened with the two eclipses. This is major. It's not just like two eclipses. It's the whole thing. Actually, I listened to David Palmer, who I think is the best, most miraculous astrologer in the world. And he explains everything in detail and always in a positive way. And everybody's been feeling it, even if you don't know about it. Everybody's been feeling this really intense energy the past month or longer. Like, what's going on here? Can I get a break? That kind of thing. Because we went through a clearing out point. And right now, in fact, today tomorrow morning is the last day of it's kind of like a window, if you want to call it, or a portal, where people are either just shedded and let go of a bunch of stuff they didn't need, and they awakened like they never thought they could on this planet, or they didn't. So you're going to see a lot of the other way. So I believe energy healing, surgery, all this stuff is going to be very well accepted now. Or it's still going to be, the other way, but I think that's going to be fewer. People don't have a choice really, because they're going, like I have a 90-year-old client that called me yesterday. And I'm like, to be honest, because my dad was 96, I'm like, wow, this is cool. A 90-year-old man is calling me. Mm-hmm. My dad would say, what are you doing? What are you doing? There's nobody there, but, my dad was an old-time, Sicilian New Yorker also. But this man is just like, I have done tests for years. I want to, go for my walks. That's all I want. He just wants to be comfortable, go for his walks, and I'm working on him And he's getting, my method also, you get released instantly. It's an instant thing. There's other healing methods, some healing methods you don't get the results instantly. Mm-hmm. And so he was so open to it. And that was such a joy for me to be talking to a 90-year-old man where most of the time there's no way a 90-year-old
they would even listen to you. Right.
They would say, you're off your rocker or whatever.
Exactly. Although maybe... I was going to say, maybe back then they were actually smarter. They just forgot it along the way. We've gone from what used to be alternative medicine to conventional medicine. And we forgot that the alternative medicine was first. So maybe he actually did know that years ago, and we kind of forget those things.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. Like when someone calls me, and, I'm sick, say he had a couple ulcers, so I repaired his stomach, got rid of the ulcers, and I'd say, if you ever get any acid, a little bit of baking soda in water gets rid of it. Not tons. Right. Baking soda or coconut oil for certain things, or apple cider vinegar is a big one. And, yes, I do believe in vitamins and good food. But those natural remedies from back then, you can't beat those.
And
apple cider vinegar has like 200 cures or something.
Right. And it's really coming back into play. All of these things are for those who have ventured into that alternative healing. And it's pretty wild. If we had just listened to Grandma, we would have saved ourselves a lot of pain and suffering.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely true. Yeah, and because you do so much research on what's working and what's not. And, the big thing is, as I know if you keep your pH level up, you can't get disease.
Right.
Well, baking soda keeps the pH level up, so why not have a teaspoon a day?
That's right. So tell us something. Does your method work for everyone? So let's talk about.
That depends on the person. Oh, I also work on animals also the same way. Only they don't have all the emotional stuff going on.
Smart guys.
My method works just like any person's method would work on somebody. If somebody wants to be healed and they're allowing it, like somebody might call and say, yeah, I want to be healed, and their subconscious is saying, no, I don't, leave me alone. And I'm saying, then I got to have this conversation and say, your subconscious is saying, you don't want to be healed. Yes, I do. And I go, well, remember that thing that happened? I don't want to say what I'm thinking, but...
you can use an example because nobody knows who you're talking about, so it's okay.
I know, but it's okay. Like I'll put it in a nice way, like a miscarriage or something. Okay, say somebody had a miscarriage and they felt like I'm clairvoyant, so I will see like you're watching a movie or a little clip. I'll see the flashback to when she was pregnant, how she was running to work, how she wasn't getting enough sleep. I'll just see it. I don't need to ask her. I'll say, well, listen, yes, you were eating good at that time. Yes, they verify. Yes, I was eating good. I'll go, but you were working too hard. But this is what your husband was doing. This is what your husband was pushing you to say and all that. And so they can see it clearly because I'm an outsider. And then I can remove the block. Like they don't have to feel guilty because now they're not just looking at it like, look what I did. And then I can also communicate with whoever is not here anymore. Mm-hmm. Like that, I could tell the person's reborn, the person's okay, where the person is, whatever. It's really
wild.
It's really not limited. And that's another thing on how I talk to like kids with MS, where the parent can't talk to them. Same way with animals. I'm just talking to them. I'm talking to the subconscious, talking back. Like if someone's in a coma and they need to be worked on, I need to ask them first. That's how I ask them.
Mm-hmm.
So now I forgot your question. I just rambled and rambled.
I was saying, does it work for everyone? Because you have to want to be healed.
Say somebody just wants to go, but they're holding on for their family, and if they just want to go. Mm-hmm. The most I can do for them is I can make them comfortable. I can make them not in pain or whatever. But if somebody wants to go, they want to go.
Right.
And it's sad because we want to hold on. Trust me, I did. but there's nothing, you can do about that. That's everyone has free will, and or some people, honestly, they like somebody I was dealing with last night. This person has a nerve disorder, but when I look in the nerve disorder, the subconscious is saying, I want to keep this because I get a lot of attention.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, we need to deal with that.
That's subconscious needs a talking to.
Huh? Yeah.
It needs a talking to.
Yes, it's very convenient because you don't have to even ask the person what's going on.
Well, it's very similar to people sometimes who the body kind of, like, certainly a person doesn't want to have cancer, but their subconscious wants them to have the cancer because then, as you say, everybody is nice to them, everybody cares for them, everybody does things for them, right? Not sick.
No. Well, that's cancer is a very sensitive subject for me, and of course we'll
get to that later.
My mother passed from cancer in a horrible way, horrible, and I wasn't a healer then, and so cancer really.
I'm not saying that's how people get cancer. I'm saying sometimes it's preventing them from healing because their subconscious has it locked in.
Well, you know what I think this is just my take on it. Mm-hmm. My thing is cancer, the word cancer, people hear cancer and that's like, a death sentence. Just to hearing the word, oh my God, it's cancer. I can't make it through cancer because it's cancer. That's the main thing, the belief system. If you go on YouTube, there's a lady, what's that man's name? Greg, I can't remember his name. He's a spiritual teacher and a healer. I can't remember his name. I think he's with the Hay House. They wanted to prove that you can get rid of this lady had stomach cancer. And so they have her, on the MRI or whatever. And they're not digging into her body or touching her tumor. There's 3 people in the room, and they're thinking something. They're thinking she's perfect or whatever. But the lady is doing it as well. That's the most important thing. The lady wants it to be over with. She already learned her lessons from having it. That's a big thing. Like, look at you. You're helping thousands of people. This is your mission.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's correct. Sorry, I'm typing.
Yeah.
Somebody's asking
me a question. I should be in that room. I don't.
That's okay. I was just. I am.
Okay. So, I think it's even deeper than that. I think it's because I see past lives or parallel lives. Right. I think it could be something they didn't clear up. Maybe they didn't take care of themselves, or something was going on in another life as well. It could just go so deep. I don't believe anybody really wants to get sick. I just think some people don't have self-love. When you don't have self-love, you might as well your whole body's going to eat up. It's just going to eat itself up. Your body is ruled by your mind, correct?
Absolutely. In fact, we were just going to talk about that. It's such an important point to get across, that the mind is controlling the body. It's so important.
Well, once people really believe that, see, that's a hard thing for people, because if they believe that, and they believe that we before we even got here, in my opinion, I'll say that again, I remember doing this. I'm going to sign up for this, then I'm going to go through this heartache. My mother's going to pass in front of me horribly, as horrible as that is. I probably wouldn't be a healer if I didn't see that. I didn't know how I was going to make it when my mother passed. She was everything in my world.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
But I had to, I don't know, it did something to me. It did something to me, but,
and now you're helping thousands upon thousands, right?
Yeah. And she's watching, and she's proud of me. She said,
I know she is.
All the time. She's like, wow, I didn't even know you were going to be doing all that. I knew you talked to animals and stuff, but,
I knew you were Dr. Dolittle, but I didn't know you were the Oracle healer helping people.
Yeah, exactly. So with my healing, it's basically, it's not just this aspect. It's all the aspects possible in a human being and their spirit and everything. And also I do a lot of allergy elimination. That's really, really big. Oh, as you know.
Yes. As I know. Yes.
As you know. Okay, now, people can have the obvious thing, like they're allergic to dust, and they just walked outside, and there was a bunch of dust on the patio, and now I can't get out of bed for 2 days. Okay, that's an obvious thing. Now that I'm thinking about you, you're allergic to wheat. I'll just see a big piece of.
Am I?
Well, you are. Your body.
Oh, I am. Okay.
Okay. This is the difference. Let me tell you the difference. The person going outside in the dust, I can reverse all the environmental allergies. I get a lot of people allergic to chemtrails. Most people, with the pollen. Then I go up their sinuses, clean out their sinuses, and they can breathe, and they just can't believe it. Just instantly they can breathe. Like deviated septum, I'm just in there scraping that out the same way I would just scrape out arthritis. But that's an obvious allergy. Mm-hmm. You're allergic to wheat. I'm telling you right now.
I believe you because I stopped it. I stopped it for a few weeks, and I felt great. And I guess then I went back on it.
Why did you stop it?
What, you mean, why did I stop it? I just felt like it. I thought that this would be a very good healing thing to do because I wanted to see what would happen, if I took it out. And it was fine, but it didn't seem...
reason?
Yeah, go ahead.
Your subconscious knew. Your subconscious knew that the wheat's hurting your body. So you stopped.
I guess I'll just have to continue to not have the wheat.
Yeah, definitely, because especially, what our country does to the food. But,
this country right now isn't worth eating, period. So it's good that we that's kind of why I stopped thinking that.
Yeah, I mean, wheat's not good for anybody, and dairy isn't either. I mean.
Okay, am I allergic to dairy?
Okay, well I'm not, when I look in your stomach, normally that's where I see it. I'm not seeing like a glass of milk or a bunch of cheese, so I'm going to do kinesiology with my fingers. I don't need your arm and all that. That's also highly known as muscle testing, but I'll just do kinesiology. But each finger, the way I do it, represents something else. Let me see, are you allergic to milk? No on milk? Are you allergic to cheese? No, you're okay with dairy.
Shoot, because I don't drink milk, but I do like some cheese once in a while. Excellent, perfect.
Yeah, you're. Well, that's probably why you're not. If you indulge in something, you become allergic to it. Mm-hmm. Like say somebody can't stop eating chocolate. And, I've been eating chocolate. What are you talking about? I've been eating chocolate for 10 years, and all of a sudden I'm allergic to it. Yep.
Well, that's why, right? Overdosed.
Just like, I don't know if you know who Edgar Cayce is, but...
I was going to ask you to talk about him. Okay.
You were going to talk about him?
I was going to ask you to talk about him.
Oh, that's funny. Well, he said, everything's okay as long as you don't, overdo it, basically. However he worded it.
What happened to me in the car when I was a child, I loved the lilacs in my grandparents' backyard so much that we cut down, I think, half of a lilac tree and stuffed it in the back of the car. By the time I got home, I was so incredibly allergic to lilacs. To this day, I'm afraid to go near them. It was amazing. I'd never been allergic to them before, but this high concentration was more than my system could handle. So they were banished from the house after that.
Do you know what allergies are? Do you know where they come from?
No.
Well, it's going back to the mind, like everything else. It's how our mind feels about whatever it is, all as well. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm not saying like you could look at I'm feeling something with what you just said. It's not just, you said dandelions, didn't you?
No, lilacs.
Oh, lilacs. Okay, I'm sorry. There's an emotional thing with you and lilacs. It's not just the lilacs. There's something there.
Interesting.
And I don't know what it is. I'm feeling like your grandmother or something. I don't know. Somebody really loved lilacs or something. Okay. So, it can be all like three things, and that's why, some doctors are not going to, well, I'm trying to be nice. But,
you don't have to be nice on this network about that.
Are you sure? I can say like anything? Okay. So, they're not going to like look in your energy and say, hey, your subconscious is saying this and your heart keeps failing and, people are constantly getting operated on, because of this and because of that. And they're not going to see the emotional response to it. They're not going to see, like, somebody might have, a pain in their shoulder, and I might, after I operate on it, which they don't feel, by the way. It's not like psychic surgery where you're feeling it. I don't even like the word psychic, actually, but that's why I use clairvoyant. But, like, if say somebody's dislocated their shoulder, and it's just never right, I go in and I build up the cartilage. It usually flat as a board in there. I'll fluff up the cartilage, rebuild the bone. It usually looks kind of scratchy in there. But after I do the whole physical thing and build the muscles around it and all these things physically, if they still get it, like the pain, then I got to go in because it's got to be emotional. I already did everything physical.
Mm-hmm.
Or it could be a cord. There's cords in your aura too. That's a cord, which I always ask permission to cut. We have these cords to people, or there could be some kind of strange cords to
By
things.
cords, do you mean attachments? Is that like
yeah,
imagine a cord,
but yeah, but there's a real cord there. It looks like a big long piece to me. It looks like a big long piece of spaghetti.
Right, that's what I was going to say. It's actually a cord, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
Exactly, but some cords are very, very intense, all the way through the aura. Like usually I'll see it in the back, very thick. It almost looks like a wormhole kind of a thing. That's the kind you really need to get rid of. But I always clean myself every day, because I go, going into everybody's energy, and I don't want anything on me. So cutting cords, some people don't believe in cutting cords for whatever reason. You're cutting the cords that don't serve your highest good, and you cut them. With me, again, everything's intense. If I'm cutting cords, I'm not using a smudge stick. I'm not using sage and the gentle way, the nice, pretty smoke. That's not working with me. I need to use like something that looks like a knife. I'm just being serious. I don't know if it's the New York Sicilian thing or what, but I'm in there and I'm cutting, I'm just like, get this off.
That's the
like when
surgeon
people
in you. I love
shield empaths, we need to shield. We feel everything. I can't go into a store without knowing everybody's life and seeing through everybody's bodies and everybody's animals, and so I have to like zip up, as I call it, before I walk into a store.
I imagine.
You know what I mean? So, but you have to really want that. You have to really want those shields up. Some people are doing like and it's fine for other people if it works. But a lot of people are coming to me. I get a lot of healers, by the way, too. And they're like, this shielding just doesn't work for me. What they're basically doing is it's gentle. Like they're putting themselves in a white protective bubble. It's, very nice, like kind of like floating and protect. I'm
going to have to work on that with you. Because I had some energy healers telling me that I'm absorbing all of my clients', negative energy and not.
Oh, that's easy. I could teach you how to do it right now.
Yeah, so we'll have to work on that.
So I use, I'm talking titanium walls, rose quartz walls outside of that, and then one-way mirrors, not double like some other people. I use one-way mirrors. So you got like 3 layers going on with me, and then I zip you up. I close your energy. But shielding yourself. Let me just explain it real quick because a lot of people want to know this, and then they can just do this. Well, it depends on, I don't know what the age group is that's listening to this, but back in the day, our garage doors were not electric. And to pull that garage door down was a pain in the neck.
Sure was.
Yes, that's how hard you want to pull the wall down. You want to pull it down like, there's nothing getting in here. Bam! Right side, left side, front, back, above your head, under your feet, next wall. You just reach up, your arm straight up in the air, and envision the wall. If you can envision it, it's there. It's real. Slam it down to your feet like you mean it. Like you mean it.
Mm-hmm.
Some people call me and say, "Oh, I got spirits, bugging me when I'm sleeping." Well, I tell them what to do, but the bottom line is you're letting them be around you.
Mm-hmm. So I want to tell a quick story, and then I'm going to ask you one more question before we run out of time. When I first started working with April, I had a mountain of stuff in my office that I've been physically carrying around from place to place for years. When I go away for the summer, I take it with me because I move my office and I drag it back here. Anyway, it was piling up that I couldn't even find my office anymore. Articles I wanted to write, papers I wanted to read, research I wanted to work on, and couldn't get to it. Anyway, she worked on me. That weekend, I cleaned my entire office. You wouldn't recognize it. Things went in the garbage that I thought I would probably have till I retire. And my husband had been on a business trip, walked in and said, "What in the world happened to your office?" I mean, he was absolutely in shock. I go, "Oh, I cleaned it." He was like, "Cleaned it? If I set a bomb off her, I mean, it's just gone." So after that, of course, I knew that she could do so much more for me than help me clean my office. So in that respect, I'm going to ask you this one last question before we run out of time. How do you help someone with cancer? You only have 5 minutes.
Oh my goodness. Okay, first I have to go back to why you brought up why'd you clean your office. If that's because you're an empath. Did I say you were an empath and that's why you cleaned your office?
You said there was so much going in my mind. You said, how do you even think with all that stuff? You got stuff going back and forth,
Right, but you're an empath. Okay, an empath cannot be around clutter. And it makes our mind all over the place. So that's why you cleaned your office and felt better.
Okay.
Some people can be around a bunch of mess and doesn't bother them, but empaths, forget it.
See, I was just happy that I was able to do it. See, I couldn't even make a decision of whether I should throw something out or keep it. I was so cluttered in my mind. So that was really great.
Okay, so how do I help a woman with cancer?
Right.
Okay. Well, first of all, the number one thing is I have to get them to believe that they can beat it. Mm-hmm. If they don't believe they can beat it, I can't help them. That's the bottom line. I mean, I can get them out of pain. I can, because you're saying beat cancer, so I'm going all the way with it. To beat cancer, you have to believe it. If they don't believe it, I'm very good at talking them into believing it.
Good.
I will show them videos. I will talk to them. I will talk to them about why they got the cancer in the first place and get them to understand what's really going on in their head, and that's a tough one. Mm-hmm. If they can accept it and let it go, we can move on to a healthy life. But if they won't let that go, it just depends on the person.
Right.
It's a lot different than working on an animal with cancer. You just go in and you do your thing with an animal, and there's no emotions behind it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? The basic things that I do when I'm working on somebody with cancer is I always, normally people with cancer sign up on a 30-day, what I call a tune-up package. First, I do the full healing, and then I go in their energy every single day. Why? Because their emotions slide back down. I need to keep their emotions up. How do I do that? I keep their vitamins balanced. I throw vitamins in your energy that'll last 5 days.
Interesting.
Yeah, I can throw anything, whatever source is telling me to throw in there. Usually it's a lot of minerals, vitamin C, the Bs, K2, it just depends, D3, whatever the body is needing, I throw it in, and it stays in there for like 5 days. It just kind of comes out as it needs it. But so the main thing is I have to keep open. I do notice with cancer, I have to keep opening the crown chakra, which is the top of your head. Mm-hmm. It has to stay open, and so does, the chakras have to stay open. And now, even if I open them, if somebody's in a real bad state, you can just shut it. I can open it, you can shut it. I go and open it again, and you can shut it. So I have to keep them at a high, that they feel like they can beat it. That's the whole thing.
Right.
And if they have pains or whatever, or, I get a lot of, brain tumors after, go in their head, and, they deal with some scary stuff because they can see 1 minute, the next minute they're having a seizure. There's all kinds of things going on.
Mm-hmm.
But the main thing is for them to believe it, and I help them believe it because I can make you feel from like depressed. I get a lot of bipolar, suicide cases that the parents call me. I'm going into the brain. It's a chemical imbalance, and so the mood has to do with the brain, the hormone. If your hormones go wacky completely, I mean, come on, your whole mood's going to go downhill in a second. Yeah, well, so it's important to keep the hormones, but they have to stay balanced. Everything has to stay balanced.
Now, can you balance those for people?
Oh yeah, that just takes me a minute. Actually, your estrogen is a little high right now.
Compared to my progesterone, right?
I just raised your progesterone and lowered your...
Oh, good, because that was very necessary.
I didn't even ask. I didn't think you'd mind. Sorry.
No, because I needed that. I needed that terribly.
Yeah, it's just... Yeah, you did. You should use progesterone cream, but a lot of yours is coming from stress because your adrenals are a little clogged right now.
Right.
Want me to fix it real quick?
Yes, please.
I'm pulling out all these emotions out of your adrenals. Okay, your thyroid's just a tad off because of that. Okay, I'm going behind you. I'm building up your serotonin, your endorphins. In your brain. Your mind is going left, right, left. Do I go left or completely right? There's no middle ground with you. You're going left and right. And let me clear out your crown. And now I'm opening your crown. Sorry, it gets a little loud. See what I mean by the intensity? I'm using the sound of it just comes out of my mouth. And I'm using my hands like I'm really physical. I look like my nickname is Ninja Tinkerbell or whatever. Because I look like a ninja. That's where I got it from. I look like a ninja when I'm in there. I'm attacking it. So that's why the sounds come out too. I'm using every part of my body and every single part of my mind to do that. So stop doing this. I'm going to go in your higher self real quick. Have your higher self. I see. Okay. Can I talk blunt?
Sure.
Or do you want me to not do... Okay, your higher self is telling me that you're scared about making a big decision, and that's why you're looking all the way left and all the way right. Okay, so I'm telling your higher self to communicate with your subconscious.
Okay.
And I'm watching the conversation as if it's like two people talking. I'm watching it, and I'm hearing it. Hold on. Okay, now I'm having your subconscious talk to your conscious.
You're better than marriage.
Now you're going to feel relaxed. So, I had to do that with you because doing all the physical stuff, you were still doing the left, right thing is making you very nervous and uptight. So I had to let you know everything's going to be okay and let you see the outcome, even though you don't know what you said to, it doesn't matter because sometimes when you tell the person it's a little too much and we're on the radio and I don't need to tell you exactly what was going on, but I know that you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
So you should feel different right now. You should feel more relaxed and not stressed, like you just know everything's going to be okay.
All right. Well, thank you very, very much. And I do know that everything's going to be okay. And I will be emailing you later or messaging you, but we're out of time.
So, God, that went so fast.
I know it always does. So I just want to thank you so much for being with us here today.
I talk fast.
Yeah, me too, because we got a lot in here today. We covered a lot of ground, and I think everyone is going to find your services extremely helpful, like I have and my entire family. So thank you for being here, and thank you for all
you do. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you asking me to be on your show. It means the world to me. It really does.
Well, thank you. It means the world to all of us that are listening, and certainly myself. So,
So thank you. And I'm sure you're going to put some, they just go to the site and that's how they can listen to it?
Yep. The replay, I'll be posting it on all the services and as well as on my website. And of course, I'll be sending it to you.
Okay, great.
Great. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, April. And thank all of you for listening today. If you missed any part of this show or past shows, you can find them on my website, www.ellenjacobs.com. Join us next week when we chat with Dr. Peter Resnick and discuss how psychotherapy can help you learn from, speak to, and change your body to help you heal from your cancer. And April, if you're still there, can you just list your website, please?
Yes, it's theoraclehealer.com.
Okay, great.
And
yeah, go ahead.
Well, my phone number and email's on the website. So.
Okay, fine,
well,
because that way they can get in touch with you. Yeah. We forgot to do that. I didn't want to make sure that got into the clip. All right. Thank you, everybody. And this is Ellen Jacobs, your host, one-on-one cancer coaching, and we'll see you all next Tuesday at 1 p.m.